Punch makes a record, an Appian record, about a tavern long before they buy it, actually. They make a record back when they're just considering buying it, when they first imagine buying it, and then all their processes that have to do with the due diligence and the consideration and the real estate valuations and the examination of the balance sheet and everything, all that is collected over time in the Appian record. And of course, it's always unique, right? Every one of them is a separate problem, a unique institution. And then after, if they decide, months or years later, if they decide to make the purchase and buy that tavern, then they keep the record. And the record now becomes the center for different processes. Like they institute all their practices and they standardized which beers they're going to bring, and they institute the Punch Tavern's methodologies, and all of that pertains to the record. So the record is a moving snapshot. Over time, the processes change, the users change, the stages change, but the crown in goes through all those stages, and the record about the crown in goes through all those stages. It's a great way to use Appian records. And I like that it's both. That it's first an aggregation of everything, and then it's also a moving snapshot. It's a terrific kind of two sides of it. And of course, it works on mobile devices. A lot of these, as I say, they're gloriously remote. Right? You have to be mobile to use it. All right, Bank of Tennessee. Bank of Tennessee has accelerated their loan processing by 30% by using Appian records. This particular example is an Autobot record. And you see that in the corner there, Autobot means it's an auto loan from the bot, which is Bank of Tennessee. And they've brought together all the data that's pertinent to every loan gets a record. All the data that's pertinent to this loan. How creditworthy is the recipient, and what do we know about them, and what is our tolerance today, and what's the cost of money, and everything comes together on one record, which I love. It's an example of the first way to use records, the aggregation way to use records. But at the same time, it's also, and I love what they've done, it's really innovative, at the same time, it's also the center for all the processes. These processes impact upon the record. So due diligence connects to the record. Auto inspection connects to the record. Home inspection, I guess that wouldn't be Autobot, and then collaboration occurs right there on the record. So we've made the record the centerpiece. And I want to say, this to me is the future of BPM, of Appian. When you roll out Appian instances in the future, you are no longer going to roll it out process model by process model. In the future, it will make more sense to roll out a new topic, like, say, auto loans, and then to write all of the processes that impact upon that topic peripherally to the data subject. So now you're going to roll out Appian data subject by data subject. I think that's the future of BPM. I think it's a much more intuitive way to work, because every time you do a rollout, you create a natural community of usership. You create a set of people and a set of actions and a set of data, and those three are symbiotic. That, to me, is the new unit of rollout. And Bank of Tennessee is right on top of it. I like to talk about the decision cycle. You may have heard it, but if so, I'll be brief. It's something we all do hundreds of times a day. Every time we make a decision, we do the same three steps. We become aware. Number one, we become aware that there's a decision to be made. We become knowledgeable enough so that we could make that decision, and then we take action. We do it all the time. We do it when we pick up the phone. We do it when we make a critical business decision, but it's happening all the time. Those three steps, we're running through them again and again. And we have discretion about how we do it. We could spend a little bit of time on knowledge gathering, or a lot, but we do these three things time and time again throughout the day. So it's a pity that these three segments happen to almost always occur in different software products. Awareness probably happens in an instant message, or a tweet, or an email if you're old, or something like this. And those are great means of awareness, and they're terrible means of becoming knowledgeable. So of course, you immediately have to leave that environment. I'm not doing my research in email, right? I get out of that environment, and I go to some comprehensive database, right? A relational database, a CRM system, a product, probably many places where information is stored that are pertinent to the decision I have to make. And then once I feel knowledgeable enough at some point, I stop and I move to another product, because you can't take action in a relational database. I move to another product. At this point, it's probably BPM, and I take action. I take a launch. I launch a structured action in BPM. 3 different environments, right? That's very inefficient, right? For those of us who are computer people here, you don't write your kernel in 3 parts. If you have to repeat something again and again throughout the day, you don't want it to involve a lot of high-friction handshakes. We'd like to do all this in one environment. It'd be far better if we were able to internalize that. And I think that Appian is the first vendor to make that leap and to internalize the entire decision cycle within one environment. We give you the news feed, where you can become aware of things that you need to know. And since you're on mobile, we can really get people aware at the right time. And then with records, that's the missing link, we can get you knowledgeable, because your awareness item is 1 click away from the record that gives you full information on that topic. And then once you've got your information, you can move right to action. And of course, you're already in the BPM environment, so you can take that structured action without going anywhere. So awareness, knowledge, action. My example here is Sanofi. Sanofi is one of the world's largest pharma companies, and they use Appian for a process called pharmacovigilance. Pharmacovigilance essentially means that if you detect any kind of a negative side effect in your drugs, and there's any sort of pattern, like we've seen multiple people having the same negative side effect, you have to be right on top of that. You have to